Smile.Dog. Original author, unknown. I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary had initially agreed, since I wasn't a newsman but rather an amateur writer gathering some information for my early college assignment. And if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction too. We scheduled that interview for a particular weekend that I was in Chicago for unrelated business. But at the last moment, Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour I sat there with Terrence as we were camped outside the bedroom door. I was listening and taking notes, while he attempted to fruitlessly calm his wife down. The things Mary said made little to no sense, but fit with the pattern I was expecting, though. I couldn't see her. I could tell that she was crying. And more often than not, objections to speaking with me centered around a incoherent diatribe on her dreams. Her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise. And I did my best to just take it in stride. If you recall, I'm not a reporter in search of a story, but just merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought at the time that perhaps I could find another similar case if I just put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was a sysop for a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in '92. That's when she first encountered smile.jpg, and her life changed. Forever. She and Terrence had only been married 5 months. Mary was one of an estimated 400 people who saw the image when it was posted as a hyperlink on the BBS, though she was the only one who had spoken openly about her experience. The rest either remained anonymous or were perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in 10th grade, smile.jpg was first brought to my attention by my burgeoning interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was the most often cited victim of what is sometimes referred to as Smile.Dog, the being that smile.jpg is reputed to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious macabre elements of the cyber legend and my proclivity towards such things, was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point where people didn't even believe it existed, other than a rumor or a hoax. It is unique, because throughout the entire phenomenon, it centers around a picture file, a file that is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly photo-manipulated simularia litter the web, but showing up on the most frequent websites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the X-focused paranormal board, it is suspected that these are fakes because they don't have the effect that the true smile.jpg is supposed to have, namely the sudden onset temporal lobe epilepsy and acute anxiety. This purported reaction in the viewer is one of the reasons the phantom-like smile.jpg is regarded with such disdain, since it's patently absurd, though, depending on whom you ask, the reluctant to acknowledge smile.jpg's existence might be as much out of fear as it is out of disbelief. Neither smile.jpg or smile.dog is mentioned anywhere in Wikipedia, though the website features articles on such, perhaps more scandalous, shock sites, hello.jpg, 2 girls 1 cup, etc. Any attempt to create a page pertaining to smile.jpg is instantly deleted by Encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters with smile.jpg are the stuff of urban legend. Mary E.'s story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of smile.jpg showing up on the early days of Usenet. One of the more persistent tales was that in 2012 a hacker flooded the forums of a humor and satire website with something awful, a deluge of smile.dog pictures, rendering almost half the site's users with an epileptic seizure. It is also said that in the mid to late 90s, Smile.jpg circulated on Usenet as an attachment to a chain email, with the subject line, "Smile, God loves you." Yet despite the huge exposure from these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having any experience of them, and no trace of the file or link has ever been recovered. Those who claim to have seen Smile.jpg often weakly joke that they were far too busy to save a copy of the picture to their hard drive. However, all of the alleged victims offer the same description of a photo. A dog-like creature, usually described as being similar to a Siberian Husky, illuminated by the flash of a camera. It sits in a dim room. The only other background detail that's visible is a human hand extending from the darkness near the left side of the frame. The hand is empty, but it's usually described as beckoning. Of course, most attention is given to the dog or dog-like creature, as some victims are more certain than others of what they claim to see. The muzzle of the beast is reputedly split in a wide grin, revealing 2 rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human teeth. This, of course, is not the description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims, who claim that the picture endlessly repeats in their mind's eye during their epileptic fits. These fits are reportedly continued intermittently, often while the victim sleeps, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medication, though in some cases it's more effective than others. Mary E., I assume, was not one of the ones affected by medication. That was after my visit to her apartment in 2007. I sent out feelers to the folklore and urban legend news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find one supposed victim of Smile.jpg who felt interested in talking about their experience. For a time, nothing happened, and at length, I completely forgot about my pursuits, since I had begun them in my freshman year of college, and I was quite busy. Mary contacted me via email, however, at the beginning of March 2008. To me, from Mary. Subject, last summer's interview. Dear Mr. L., I'm incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that the fault was not yours, but rather my own problems to lead me to act as I did. I realize that I could have handled the situation with more decorum. However, I hope you forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years I had been haunted by Smile.jpg. Smile.Dog comes to me every night in my sleep. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. There is quite an ineffable quality about my dreams. My nightmares. Makes them completely unlike any real dreams I have ever had. I don't move, I don't speak, I simply look ahead. And the only thing that I see is the scene from that horrible picture. I see the beckoning hand, and I see Smile.Dog. It talks to me. It's not a dog, of course. I'm not quite sure of what it really is. It tells me that it'll leave me alone. All I have to do is ask. I must spread the word. And how it phrases its demands and exactly what it means. It wants me to show someone else. And I could. The week after my incident, I received a manila envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside, there was only a 3.5-inch floppy diskette. Without having to check, I knew exactly what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger or coworker. I could even show it to Terrence, as much as the idea disgusted me. And what would happen then? Well, if Smile.Dog kept its word, I could sleep. Yet if it lied, what would I do? And who was to say something worse would not come for me if I did what the creature asked? So, I did nothing. For 15 years, I kept the diskette hidden from anyone in my things. Every night for 15 years, Smile.Dog has come to me in my sleep demanding that I spread the word. For 15 years, I have stood strong, though there have been many hard times. Many of my fellow victims on the BBS board where I first encountered Smile.jpg stopped posting altogether. I heard some of them committed suicide. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off the face of the web. They're the ones I worry about the most. I sincerely hope you'll forgive me, Mr. L. But last summer, when you contacted me and my husband about the interview, I was near a breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy diskette. I didn't care if Smile.Dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You were a stranger, someone I had no connection with. And I thought I would feel no sorrow if you took the diskette as part of your research and sealed your own fate. But before you arrived, I realized what I was doing. I was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought. In fact, I still can't. I am ashamed, and I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigating Smile.jpg. You may encounter someone who's weaker than I am, and more wholly depraved. Someone who will not hesitate to follow Smile.Dog's orders. Stop while you're still whole. Sincerely, Mary E. Terrence contacted me later that month with the news that his wife had killed herself. While cleaning up her various things she left behind, closing email accounts, etc., he happened on the above message. He was a man in shambles. He wept as he told me to listen to his wife's advice. He had found the diskette, he revealed, and he burnt it until it was nothing but a smoking pile of blackened plastic. The part that disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed as it melted. Like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit that I was a little uncertain of how to respond to this. At first I thought perhaps it was a joke, with a couple belatedly playing with the situation in order to get a rise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago newspapers' online obituaries, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. This was, of course, no mention of the suicide in the article. I decided that, for a time at least, I would no longer pursue the subject of Smile.jpg. Especially since I had finals coming up at the end of May. But the world has an odd way of testing us. Almost a full year after I had returned from my disastrous interview with Mary, I had received another email. To me, from Elheiser82. Subject, Smile. Hello. I found your email address through a mailing list in your profile. It said you were interested in Smile.Dog. I saw it, and it's not as bad as everyone says. Here, I sent it to you. Just spreading the word. Smiley face. That final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attached. Naturally, called smile.jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was most likely a fake, I imagined. Even if it weren't, I would never wholly be convinced of its powers. Mary E.'s account had shaken me. Yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. After all, how could a simple image do what smile.jpg is said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with only the power of the eye? And if such things were patently absurd, then why did the legend exist at all? If I downloaded the image, if I looked at it, and if Mary turned out to be correct, if Smile.Dog came to me in my dreams demanding that I spread the word, what would I do? Would I live my life as Mary had, fighting against the urge to give in until I died? Or would I simply spread the word, eager to put it to rest? And if I chose the latter route, how could I do it? Whom would I burden in turn? If I went through with my earlier intentions and write an article about smile.jpg, I decided I could attach it as evidence, and anyone who read the article, anyone who took interest, would be affected. And even assuming that the smile.jpg attached to the email was genuine, would I even be capricious enough to save myself in that manner? Could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a classic. You gotta love the classics. Let's get a big thank you to Dan R, Paul Z, Mr. Swiston, Official Jerboa, Chaos X, JY, Pyromancer, Hayden MH, and Ethan A. And of course, all the $5 patrons listed in the description. You guys are never forgotten. You're fucking amazing. And if you want access to Patreon-only content, I've got the next Patreon-only story chosen, so I will start that immediately. It's going to be about 45 minutes long, which makes about, 2 hours of Patreon-only content? How do you not want access to that for $5 to $10 a month? Come on, you know you do. Head over to the Patreon link down below. Thank you for watching.